Cold Springs, a lonely crossroads. Cold Springs played an important role in the development of transportation communication expanding in the United States between 1860 and 1927. Seeking to provide rapid communication between the U.S. and California in 1860, the fabled Pony Express began a short-lived but illustrious mail service. It only lasted a couple years, and I have done a couple Pony Express stations throughout Nevada or along this route, but I've never done a headquarters, and that's what this was. The way station was erected about 1.5 miles east of this site. One of many data routes between Missouri and San Francisco. So straight ahead towards that little canyon is the old Pony Express station. The Butterfield Overland Stage Company pioneered a stagecoach route between Intermountain West. Many stage stations were constructed along the way, including just southwest of the site, which is right down there is where we just came from, and that was one of the main overland stations for Nevada. In 1861, the first Transcontinental Telegraph line was strung from Omaha, Nebraska to Carson City. Thus, this is a huge historical landmark, and that's why we're here today. It says that it created the first high-speed communication link between the East and the West Coast. It was the internet of the 1800s, basically. This doomed the Pony Express. One of the telegraph stations was constructed just north of here. You wouldn't need Pony Express if you could use telegraph and mark where you got to go or where you've been. But it says, as a nation merged in the 20th century, the automobile became the transportation mode of the future. New roads and highways were needed to accommodate the increase in mobile population. And in 1912, Highway 50, most loneliest road in America that you see right out in front of me, was built. They called it the Lincoln Highway. It goes across almost all of Nevada, and today is the modern U.S. Highway 50. And you can see the Overland Stage and the Transcontinental Telegraph, and obviously you had the tracks that came by, but St. Louis, it started in St. Louis and St. Joseph. In Omaha, you had all these, if you look, you had like 3 different routes, and they all kind of interconnected. The Carson City all the way to Frisco. And right here, if you look about here, this is where we're at. Actually, I'd say we're right here. We're on the top line, but we're right in the center of northern Nevada, northern central. So definitely secluded. And then if you come on up here, because I'm just going to run across the parking lot, this is called Rock Creek. In its day, an important stagecoach stop on John Butterfield's 1861-1866 and Wells Fargo Company 1866-1869. The Overland Mail and Stage Company's historic line along the Simpson Route between Salt Lake and Genoa. Fresh horses, blacksmith services, and wagon repair facilities were available here. The Pony Express at Cold Spring Station was constructed in 1860 on the sagebrush bench eastward across the highway, which we're going to next. To the north are the ruins of a telegraph repeater and the maintenance station, which serviced this segment of the Overland Telegraph Pacific Telegraph Company's pioneer transcontinental line. Boy, that's a lot to say. Which was completed between Sacramento and Omaha in 1861. Thus, you needed the main Overland Station, which is about a quarter mile down this dirt road you see. And it says that the line was abandoned in August of 1869. The coming of the Transcontinental Railroad and its parallel telegraph line along the Humboldt River to the north spelled the demise of both the telegraph line and the stage route here. So it did not last very long. But it still stands, and it's still here for us to take advantage of. A lot of good stuff coming your way. Let's go explore, and then we'll head off into Pony Express territory, up along the base of those snowy mountains. Did you know, although the telegraph was incomparably faster than the Pony Express, it was very expensive, 75 cents per word. If you read, I didn't know these were here, but if you read, it says in 1860, Congress passed a bill to subsidize the construction of the Transcontinental Telegraph between the Missouri and Pacific coasts, as I talked about earlier. In 1861, the lines extended from Omaha to Carson, connecting the local networks And so you had the first high-speed connection from Atlanta to the Pacific Coast before even internet came to be. It says before the telegraph, coast-to-coast communication depended on the speed of either horses or ships. The Pony Express took 11 days to carry mail just from Missouri to California alone. Ships having to travel around the southern tip of South America required 45 days. The telegraph cut it down to minutes. It says revolutionizing communication. The telegraph was invented by Samuel F.B. Morse, who was an artist rather than a scientist, beating scientists to the punch. Morse figured out how to send impulses through wires over long distances. And Morse is responsible for the Morse Code, if you didn't know. Just a little inside history from me. This is to be able to talk with someone other than on the end of wires. Morse devised a code system utilizing combinations of dots and dashes, which I said the Morse Code, and it represented the letters of the alphabet. And it says this is known as the Morse Code, so I didn't even have to tell you because I already knew. But the completion of Transcontinental Telegraph line and its ability to send messages in minutes brought the Pony Express to a quick end. The telegraph is what brought it down. And we'll see if I can get some pictures of it. I had gotten the wall because it says on a plaque that that wall is the start of the telegraph. Transcontinental Telegraph Station, although the exact date of construction of the facility is unknown, it was built sometime in 1861, just before the Overland Station. Construction of this facility is unknown. It was built sometime in 1861, just before the Overland Station, about a quarter-mile southwest of here. Like the stage station and the Pony Express station, 1.5 miles east of here, Telegraph Station was constructed of volcanic lava rock, just like any of the ruins found at any of these stations along the way. The station was active until the completion of Transcontinental Railroad in 1869. My bad, I said 1870s, but it was close. At that time, the telegraph lines were moved to follow the route of the rails, and this station had remained abandoned for well over 130 years. And this is all that's left of the telegraph station, besides the wall that used to connect all the way down through the sagebrush. You can see it was quite large. And now nothing remains of it. It's not as big as the Overland Station, but there's still plenty of stone ruins to check out and look at. And we have a little plaque in here. I'd like to read it at least, because I have to see the plaques. They got those barred off, but these are the living quarters. Archaeological studies show that the fireplace, high walls, and windows were found in this portion of the station. This indicates that this room was likely used as a station residence where cooking, eating, sleeping, and other daily activities occurred. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the Overland Station had its own living quarters, and so did the telegraph station. You get the gist of it, or what's left of it, but it's not much. It's very small in comparison to the walls that are found at the Overland and the Pony Express station. But you can see, I mean, these are pretty decent sized walls. And you just come around and you can see that some of these walls are higher than me. Look at that. This is the living quarters right here. Alright, I'm out of here. You guys have gotten to see quite a few stone ruins, some of the best in Nevada. This is what made it or broke the Wild West. And when the telegraph came and the Pony Express and Overland stations came and the miners came and they had stagecoach stops and the railroad coming through, then you had your towns and your mining camps. And some of those went bust, and some of those like Carson City and Virginia City and Genoa, and towns like Minden that date back to around the 1860s, 1870s still remain today, very much alive and bustling. And this is not bustling. These are just a set of ruins in the middle of the Nevada high desert. You're looking at the telegraph repeater station here on the loneliest road in America. This is Lord Rick.